Welcome everybody to the first episode of Filmocity, a film podcast talking about film by and with filmmakers. My name is Freddie, and I'm here with my film crew gang.
I'm Anna.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm award-winning director Shane Larry.
Yeah, dream.
100% participation in year 9.
Today we're talking about the latest Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet, which I guess is the first movie to open in theaters since Corona shut the whole world down, kind of thing.
Like the first big movie that was like highly anticipated.
Yeah.
No, even Mulan didn't make it to the theaters. They went straight to Disney Plus, and Tenet's like, no, we ain't going straight.
Wait, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
you can pay $30 to watch it
next week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
What?
You already paid $12 a month for Disney Plus, but you want to watch Mulan, you have to pay an extra
As
$30.
if other Disney remakes have been worth anything.
Anyways, so talking about Tenet, and I guess we can all sort of start off by giving just our opinion of what we thought of the film when we saw it. I've seen it twice. Everyone else here has seen it once.
Yes.
When did you see it the second time after you'd seen the first time?
The day after.
Or was it the year before?
Or
Ooh.
was it in reverse? Did I see it the second time first and then the first
Went
time?
back and watched it.
What?
We could.
If you're confused, get ready for the movie.
Yeah. But I think
I
that we
loved
can
it.
sort of like all agree on, even before we say
Yeah.
our opinions, that like the filmmaking in it is like next level.
It's phenomenal.
Can vouch for it.
Insane.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So Anna, do you want to go first? Just
Um,
your opinion of seeing the
I
film?
really liked it. I was very confused at the start because I'm stupid, but
No, literally everyone was confused
Yeah.
when they saw that film.
I don't know. I really liked it. I wasn't too sure what I was in for. I remember watching the trailer and being quite confused with that, and then seeing the movie, and it all made sense. Because, I don't know, maybe it was my dyslexia that the fact that it was such a jumpy movie, I was like, no, it makes sense in my brain. I thought it was done really well. The cinematography was fucking great.
Yeah, outstanding.
The sound was on another level. I wasn't sure if I was just hearing things or there was actual ringing in the film.
Yeah.
But I thought it was done so well, and I really like Christopher Nolan. And I love Batman. That was probably the first thing that I watched that I recognized was him before I was like, oh, he actually directed this other thing I've seen.
Yeah.
And at the opening scene in the opera theatre, it so reminded me of Bane coming in to that football stadium.
it's very
And I was
Dark
like,
Knight-ish.
ooh, fuck, that's cool. And there was a lot of connections that you would only really click to after half an hour of the film had gone by and realize what you'd just seen.
Going back to what Anna mentioned about the sound in the film, yeah, I had to block my ears for a lot of that, especially at the start. There's a part where it just goes dead silent and then all hell just breaks loose. Like, holy shit. Don't sit near the front of the theatre like we do. Try and get a seat as far back as you can, because while it's going to be loud, at least it won't be as loud if you're up the back. Definitely makes you feel immersed though. You felt like you were right there inside it because of how loud it is. A good comparison would be if you've seen Saving Private Ryan, how it's in one of the first battle scenes, it's so loud and just hurts your ears. On a different note though, the camera operation was absolutely amazing. The cinematography was supremo. I'm always a fan of good looking movies as far as camera work goes, naturally being my field, my area. So it was a very great looking film, lots of nice shots. It definitely kept me engaged. There was nothing that sort of made me go, oh, this is boring.
So, initially I came out and I was pretty hyped up, and I started actually thinking about what I'd seen. I felt almost not confused, but just I didn't know what I'd seen.
Yeah.
It was I'd seen a lot of different aspects, but I feel like they were almost fighting against each other. A lot of the film. Unfortunately for me, I didn't enjoy the story as much as other Chris Nolan stories, which was kind of disappointing. It's not a horrible film, but it's definitely not his best. I think the cinematography really carried the whole film. I'm not sure what it's going to be like for you guys when you watch it, but for us, the cinema we watched it at was really good, so we had really good sound quality. Really make sure when you pick the cinema you're watching it at, it's as deluxe as possible. Pay that extra $5 and you'll actually receive a lot better audio. And I feel like another thing that was really fighting was, the actual sound and then the audio, like the actual character dialogue was really fighting against each other a lot. Not to say, like, they both did a great job, but I feel like the sound mixing was a bit off.
Yeah, I think because
probably still going to win an Academy Award.
Yeah,
I hope it does.
Yeah, well, it's Chris Nolan. Every time he makes a film, it's his name's on the list.
So I've seen the film twice, and the first time I saw it, I felt the same way Shaden did. I was like, I didn't really enjoy this. It was like, it was too much. It didn't make sense. They convoluted the premise too much for the story, which is quite simple in itself. But then I saw it a second time, and the second time I saw it, it was like a completely different experience. I think it was just because I knew then what I was getting, sort of thing. So I could just sort of sit back and just enjoy the ride of it all, even though everything didn't really make sense and all that.
You were looking at us and trying to get out
exactly.
some stuff.
Yeah, I noticed because like Frederick was sitting between me and Shaden, and then Jacob was a bit further down, and I have quite good peripheral vision, and I was kind of sitting on a bit of an angle so I could see you a bit better. And every now and then I'd just see you turn to me, and I'd be like, "What is he waiting for?" And if something would happen, I'd be like, "Oh shit!"
So I really enjoyed this film because I have not liked the last batch of Nolan films. I was thinking about it, and I realized I have not loved a Nolan film since Inception. Dark Knight Rises, I think, is mediocre. Interstellar, I think, is really good, but falls apart in the third act, and I hated Dunkirk.
You hated
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk?
Dude!
I had a hot take.
What did you think?
Holy fuck!
Oh, sorry, off topic from Nolan. What did you think of 1917? Because Dunkirk and that has been compared quite a lot.
I know, but I like 1917 a lot, but the thing I think about Nolan is that and this I think is a problem with almost all his films except for maybe Interstellar, is that his film are kind of cold and his characters are just vessels for the story, but they're not really characters.
Yeah.
And I need to like connect with the characters I'm seeing.
I felt that for oh my god, what's the actress's name?
Elizabeth Debicki, I think.
Yeah. That was like with her character. I thought like, I mean, at first when she was introduced and she was like a mother, I was like, oh, it's going to be this character. But she did have a bit more depth, like, as we got to know her, especially towards the end. But I still felt like I couldn't sit there and connect with her very well. I mostly connected with Neil, Robert Pattinson's character, who kind of just sat there and observed everything. I was like, yeah, that's me.
And that's sort of my issue, because I think that's why I didn't like Dunkirk that much as an experience, because there's no one to connect with. There's just so.
What about Harry Styles?
I mean, he's handsome, but it's like there's no story here. There's no like emotional connection. It's just like this game we're fighting against time, but at the same, I'm like, if I don't really care about the characters, it doesn't really matter that much.
I think with Dunkirk, the characters that had a bit more like heart to them, when even the main guys, who I still loved it, and I think it's a great performance. But the kids on the boat, I think those were the characters that kind of brought the most reaction out of people. Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean, I think for that film, if we're going to Dunkirk, I think
this is now a podcast about Dunkirk.
I feel like with Dunkirk, because I mean, I agree, Nolan's character writing isn't really conventional.
But he's not interested.
Exactly.
He's more interested in his techniques and like his premises rather than his characters.
I feel like with Dunkirk alone, with Dunkirk, I feel like I feel almost like the characters are broad and you're not like connecting with them personally, because it's like showing the experience that all of them went through.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every soldier, which I connected with almost more than like if it was just like trying to force a character where it wasn't like there. So I feel like that's why I actually really enjoyed Dunkirk, because it was like, it was more about the experiences that multiple people went through, apart from like, and not the experiences that one particular person goes through. Right?
That was the similarity I found between Tenet and Dunkirk, was the time jumping. When I first watched Dunkirk, I wasn't wearing my glasses. I didn't know what was said on the screen. And I was like, well, how come it's suddenly daytime? I thought it was just nighttime. I clicked that it was time jumps.
So fast,
and then I like clicked what it was like partway through, and I was like, I get it now. And I thought that was something quite cool, and not many people do it. I haven't watched many other films where there's big time jumps like that aren't continuous. Like maybe there's like a flashback sort of thing. But it's not throughout the entire movie. Unlike Tenet, which loops around to itself, and Dunkirk, which eventually catches up to itself as well.
I really feel like this is because Nolan he's like, his whole career has been about like, if his first film, or one of his first films, Memento, is like play.
I'd call that
the
his
whole,
breakthrough.
Yeah, that's like the whole film like takes place in reverse. Like he's been playing with time in like all of his films. I feel like this was just like time travel or like inversion is just like the next natural step in his trajectory sort of thing.
I feel like, unfortunately, with this film for me, it felt like more of a showpiece than an actual film. It felt like, oh, look what I can do.
Like
for me.
a showcase of all the stuff.
Technology
I can see
evolving.
that.
That's how I felt, because it was just like, it was,
Cinematographer.
well, exactly, because it was extremely like visually impressive.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I didn't really connect to the characters.
Yeah.
I didn't really like some of the characters.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a reason to like them. It's like what you said before about the mother. There was a bit at the end where it was like how she'd be living this like abusive kind of lifestyle, but we didn't go into that much. It was just kind of like it was said, but then it was like we saw a little bit of it. We saw a little bit of it at the end and like throughout the film, but it was like I guess that was a and then like for me the thing that was
need to show it.
I guess, but like I feel like it would be cool to actually go into that a little bit more and like because I mean that made like the end of it. I feel like that was actually one of the best moments for me was the end of it when they're on the boat.
And you see him snap at her.
Yeah.
But you see him like in a different light. He's like he's at peace.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a cool moment to see two different sides of the same character who just shot his wife on screen.
Yeah.
And now he's back here.
He looked like a loving husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There
I
was
feel
a moment there where you're
That
like,
was, like,
wow,
really
you're
weird.
almost like feeling for this guy. You know he's
and that was
It
really
was
interesting.
unsettling. I was like, oh my
That
god.
was really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
I feel like
really
a
nice.
story about that dynamic would actually been a lot more interesting about just like that part.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like there's must be so much of this film that they have to like cut out for time.
Yeah.
Because it jumps
Extended
around
director's
so
cut.
fast.
Yeah.
I would actually quite like to if there is like an extended like director's cut sort of thing. I'd be
actually
very
watch
keen
that.
on
It's
seeing
probably
that.
4 hours long.
I don't care. I'd be keen.
You know, this was shot and finished like over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I
They
would
finished it like June, July
because
last year.
they're planning on releasing it this July, and
'Cause-
then
Yeah.
Corona happened. Yeah.
COVID. Yeah. Because I think John
Jeff.
David Washington.
Yeah.
Whatever.
John David Washington.
Yeah. The first thing I ever saw him in was Black Klansman,
Yeah.
which is still one of my favorite movies.
I knew
So
I
good.
recognized him from
Yeah.
that. I looked him up. I was like, this guy was in a movie.
Because I
saw.
wasn't
Yeah.
too sure. I was like, I don't want them to like typecast him as hero sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I did see a lot of differences between those two characters,
yeah.
and I thought it was really cool. I forgot what I was originally going to say when I started this conversation because now I'm just wanting to watch Black Klansman and look at Adam Driver. But I thought he was really cool, and
He's just dripping
Yeah.
swag. Like
yeah,
the
He's
charisma
so cool.
that guy has is insane.
His confidence was off the charts.
Yeah.
He just like was like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
because he
Everything to say correctly.
Yeah, because he starts off as this like hardcore character, and you're like, oh, what's he gonna do? When, at the very start with the Russians and stuff, and then by the end of it, when he's talking to Neil, Robert Pattinson's character, then he's he's
like crying
he's
almost.
about to cry, and I'm like, holy shit, like
Completely broken down.
yeah, and like it's not like he's a complete mess or anything. He's still like holding himself together, but it's enough for that character that you're like, oh shit, this is like super effective.
Yeah.
He
I
has
think
emotion.
that's why I find that the film so frustrating because it's like it has points where it does character well, but then it just like completely neglects it for some of it as well, and it's like, why can't you just give it to us?
That's so funny because I was feeling the exact same thing first time I saw it, and then the second time, like everything was so much better the second time.
Okay.
And everything made so much sense, and there was so much stuff loose from the beginning to the middle that even if you paid attention the first time, you won't get it until you see it a second time.
Would you recommend seeing it again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. After my first showing, I came out of it and I was like, I was picking everything apart. I was like, okay, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Okay, I don't think I want to see this movie like ever again. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, but that set piece was really cool. And the way they shot that and did that was really, really cool. Maybe I should give it a second chance.
When we saw it, we were so focused on the fact that I guess, fuck, this is loud. Fuck,
Yeah.
it's so intense. We weren't
Yeah.
expecting this type thing. And you're like, I'm ready for this. Now
Bro,
I
the
can focus
fucking
on
the
all that.
fucking plane.
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't
That was
that
so
it was
noisy.
dead silent, but it was quiet, and then there's just fucking jet engine, and I'm like, holy shit.
I just wanted to touch really quickly on the Nolan's use of special effects because I was reading about this today, and there's less than 300 visual effects shots in this film.
Shit.
And like
visual, no. What do
And
you
that
call
sounds like a lot.
practical effects.
yeah, and if you like compared to like Endgame had 3,000 visual effects, like every
That's
scene had some
renowned for it,
computer.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But like in this film, like the whole plane sequence, Nolan said that we did the math. It was cheaper to buy a plane and crash it than to do it with CGI. So
Fuck
they
yeah.
Fuck yeah,
got
that's
a plane
awesome.
and they crashed it.
Yeah.
And the whole, apparently the ending sequence when they're in sort of the desert,
Yeah.
that they built that whole town, and it's apparently the largest outdoor set ever made for any movie ever.
No way, really?
Yeah.
It looks so small though. But I guess it's only because we only saw it in glimpses.
Yeah,
And
I
the
guess so.
helicopters kind of come over onto it, and then we're
Yeah.
just suddenly in it.
But there like weren't any like
Actually, no,
digital
this-
extensions, so, like all the buildings and everything they built.
Yeah, they just
so,
blew
yeah.
them up and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in The Dark Knight with the hospital being blown up. They
Yeah.
did that for real. That was cool.
I love that reaction of Heath just like tapping it because it genuinely didn't go off, and then it explodes, and he's like, oh fuck.
Oh shit, I better go. There's lots of forwards and reverse motion in the film as time gets fucked up. So you see things in reverse while someone might be going forward, and we were trying to think, oh, did they film everything forward and then reverse it, and then use like, you know, masking
Cut clips
to...
together, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I watched a behind the scenes that I found on YouTube, uploaded a year ago. And all the cars were driving backwards, so they must have
would have been
programmed them to drive backwards instead.
I reckon they would have been on rigs because it looks like they're going forwards, and I reckon that they were on rigs where the top of the car was kind of like built backwards, so they could look like they're driving backwards, but the car was.
That could be
That's
true,
very
yeah.
possible.
They were driving really slow, so they actually could have been going like reverse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
were going
think
quite
sped it all up.
fast.
Yeah.
No, I mean like in the film they're going fast, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
on that behind the scenes they're actually driving pretty
Yeah.
slow. So I'm thinking maybe
They
they
would have
sped
sped
it
it
up.
Oh, 100%.
Because it did look like some points had been sped up.
There was
Yeah.
a few points, especially
the adrenaline.
coming to that end where they're trying to turn the car to not crash into the other ones when they're getting to the end of that motorway.
Yeah.
I
And
don't like that scene.
I don't care.
Oh, that was quite...
It felt
Yeah.
like it was like they're gonna hit it. It's
Yeah,
like they're
yeah.
so close.
They
What?
they were really close.
And then he just
Yeah,
taps it, and he just taps his finger and it stops. I was like, what?
You know, they showed an exterior shot from like, you know, like a GoPro sort of side of the car. You can
Yeah.
see how freaking close they are to these cars, and then all of a sudden there's like another 10-20 seconds before they
Yeah,
stop. It's
yeah.
like,
That's why I think it does make sense if they were driving slower,
Yeah.
but they had like the fast effect footage
Yeah,
coming through
yeah.
because they were like to the other side of this room was like fuck, they're gonna crash in like a second, and it kept going, and I was like, hold on,
What?
It's also like the countdown
kinda-
and the final explosion. It's
Yeah.
like 3, 2, 1, but then it's like 3, 2, 10, 9, 8, 7.
What were people's like favorite scenes?
Ooh, good.
I actually know off the top of my head,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's gonna surprise you.
Oh.
It was actually the scene.
Was it when she was in the bikini?
No,
Oh.
it was the scene where I think it was one of the first times.
Was it when he was half naked in the beginning?
Yeah.
Was
No.
it with?
Was it the sunscreen?
Stop guessing.
That's slopping down his back while he's just
I
doing it?
heard
And
you
then
laugh so
he
loud at
smears
that.
it on the chair.
Yeah. Oh god, that pissed me off. I was like, God, look at
Was
that
it the
chair.
body dragging behind the boat?
No, my favorite
Was
scene.
it when he fell off and whacked his head on the side of the boat? I hated that.
Are we done?
This music just cuts in your head.
Are we
Was
done?
it the foghorn?
No. Okay.
Was it the yesterday
Fuck's
guy?
sake,
Was it
shut
John
up!
Lennon?
My favourite scene was the first time that Kat and the protagonist met, and it was at the restaurant. I thought that was shot amazingly. I don't know what it was.
It was very
but
pretty.
That was the first, like all the lights that were blurred out background. That's
Yeah.
the first time in that film I looked at it really. It was a real slow moment. I think that was one
Yeah.
of the first times it really slowed down.
Yeah.
The colours were really nice. The cinematography was nice. It was slow, and of course, in Nolan fashion, we jumped to a fight scene in the.
I thought the fight scene was like, especially that one. That one's like definitely stood out. But I thought all of them were so well
Yeah.
choreographed.
Yeah.
They were really brutal.
I have
as
to
well.
say that this is the first. I think this is the first time Nolan has shot action well.
Yeah.
Because in like the Batman movies, he's
It's
like
quite
this,
messy,
and it's
yeah.
very messy. And you can tell like when he's fighting Bane, you can tell that nothing is connected,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, everything was...
And in
going
this
up
one,
and
it was like, but I guess
Visceral.
just because of like how they had to choreograph the scene and shoot them backwards and shoot them forwards and all this stuff, they had to
Yeah.
have really like dynamic
Do we
camera
know
work as
how
well.
they shot when he was fighting himself, and you can see in the move backwards?
He actually did that backwards.
Yeah.
They were actually
They
doing
shot it
They
backwards
did it.
and
They
then they
did
shot it
one
backwards.
with them going forwards, and they did one with them going backwards.
So they had to learn all their choreography backwards.
And it has to line up like
Insane.
almost
That's
perfectly.
fun.
Yeah.
I love
It's
that.
insane.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny when he was crawling on the ground backwards on his
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
This
It's
looks
like a
so
backwards
weird.
crab walk.
Yeah.
But it looked cool when it was in reverse and he was like it looked like he was being pulled towards him.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the other scene that really stood out to me was obviously the plane crash. I haven't seen anything that looked that heavy go
Yeah.
through something that big, and it looks so. Well, it was real, so it looked so real.
Yeah.
Is it like just an epic shot?
It was, and it was such a cool shot when you were in front of the plane,
Yeah.
and it was like looking up at it, and it
Yeah.
made the plane look so massive, which
Yeah.
it
It
is.
was massive.
Yeah, and it's like, but yeah,
Planes are massive.
they are, but they
Did
made
you know?
it. They made it look.
Like, had this been
Planes
like
that
a
big.
Michael Bay film, all the cars in the
Oh.
car
Yeah.
would be exploding.
There would have been
as
a
it was
nuclear
going by,
explosion when
you know?
it
Exploded everywhere, orange and teal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I think we really have to give our hats off to
Hart van Hoytema?
yeah, that's it.
Cinematographer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Swedish man.
he-
Swedish man, yeah.
he was actually incredible in that film, and he is
Yeah.
He was the cinematographer on Interstellar and
Yeah.
Dunkirk.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love him. I
Yeah.
think he's great.
I aspire to be like him one day.
I always watch
He-
contemplations of cinematography, and he's one of the
He
favorites.
shot the best Swedish movie of all time, which is called Let the Right One In, which is a vampire film.
I really liked the whole, not just the plane scene was cool. You know, the whole building up to and how they planned it all out and how it was
Yeah.
all going to work with Amish Patel being like, oh, we've only got vegan options and knocking out all the pilots and stuff. That was really clever because I feel like it all happened in one go. Like I didn't see, it's like time wasn't cut.
Yeah.
You know, it all
Agreed.
happened at once. You weren't jumping ahead 5 minutes, everything like that. That was really cool how that all played out, and then the guy getting sucked into the jet engine. That was funny.
Yeah.
Gross but funny. And I
Yeah.
also liked the pursuit on the motorway with all the backwards cars and forwards cars, and when he's on the fire truck. That whole
Yeah,
scene
it was
when
so
they
cool.
when that
So-
one car being driving down the motorway, and then all these other trucks when they ambush him,
yeah.
and they've planned it all out. It looked really cool, and the drone shots over the top of it all, seeing those cars come in and like perfect symmetry.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Except for that police car.
Yeah, that cop.
That
Yeah,
cop
that was
car
kinda, yeah.
was fucking
that
useless.
Took me out of it.
I took a couple bullets and then they just stopped, and
It
I
was
was
like,
like,
oh crap,
sorry.
our wheels got shot. Never mind,
Yeah.
we won't do anything.
Yeah.
It's
It
great.
wasn't even the fact that they stopped. It's just the fact they didn't even notice it for like 10 seconds.
There's
Yeah.
like,
They just sort
there's
of
like,
stare.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
there's smoke coming out of this truck. There's clearly,
Yeah.
they clearly like
Yeah.
boxed him in,
Yeah.
and this police car's just sitting there like, what's happening?
Oh, it's happening up
They're
here,
like,
brother.
yeah, it's like NPC cops on a video
Yeah.
game.
Bro,
It's like
they were
GTA
super
cops when they
NPC.
forget who you are after you lose them.
I love the opening in the opera
Mhm.
because it's like it starts to move off with such a bang, and it's just like it's high adrenaline until well he gets captured or whatever happens.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I love the plane sequence. I just love like the music and there's like it's so good.
Yeah, so much bass.
The end where it's just bass before it fades into Travis Scott
Yeah.
doing something.
Oh, Travis Scott.
Yeah.
I went into this film like almost completely blind.
Yeah.
I
I
hadn't
did.
seen any. I hadn't
Hey,
seen
you
any
not seen the
trailers.
trailer or
I hadn't seen
anything?
any promotional material. I didn't even know who was in it.
I didn't even
Yeah.
read
I
it.
didn't even realize it was a Nolan film until I got in there and you told me about it.
Oh,
I
knew
just-
that.
Yeah, I went into it completely blind. I think
Wow.
I've just been like busy from The Man Who Loves Wife for a start. I just haven't been looking at my
The short film we made.
plug. No shame there.
I quite liked the interrogation, when with the red and blue lights when they're on the different
Oh yeah.
Oh,
inverted
that was
and
beautiful.
in normal
Sick.
timeline.
Yeah.
Because you could hear them speaking backwards, and I was like, what are they saying? And then it would like echo back, and turns
Yeah.
out like they were talking to each other in a different timeline, and then they
Yeah.
like jumped in the machine, and boop, 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 now they're inverted.
That's so clever, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was so well done because I
Yeah.
was sitting there and I was like, something's happening, but I obviously didn't click until we went through the machine and I figured out that's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then learning that that's what that machine did. When you think back to the first scene when they're in the art vaults,
Yeah.
and he does that, and there's a person that comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to put things together now.
I remember,
yeah.
and when they walked through those doors, there was the red and the blue on the doors, and I was like, "Oh, that's symbolism somehow."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when the rooms were red and blue lit, I was like, "Ah, that's why."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
cool.
I didn't even click that the red and blue team were,
Yeah,
because blue's inverted and the red is current time.
yeah.
But yeah, I also liked how
Wow, symbolism.
how we learnt that, if you don't see yourself coming in the reflection of something, then you haven't made it through, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, it's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
I mean, it happened every time, which was good because it made my anxiety much, much less. But I definitely enjoyed seeing that and getting to like watch it back almost when they come back out and have to recreate that.
Yeah.
And like her getting shot with the inverted bullet. Fuck, that would hurt.
Yeah.
It's being just pulled through your torso.
Yeah.
And I'd love
Yeah,
to shoot
this is
someone.
like why I had to like see it again, because I was like, there's too much good filmmaking not to like go back and just like.
I definitely
watch it
keen on
again.
seeing it again. Like,
yeah.
You weren't
our
keen,
crew
and then you're
chat,
like, well, I could
everyone's
do
keen
it
to watch
again.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it again.
I will.
I want to watch it again.
I mean,
I mean-
it's
Well,
like,
Jacob, you can come with our film crew.
Yeah.
Want to see it a third time?
I'm very conflicted.
It's like he didn't like it at the start. He went back, watched it, liked it. If he goes through again, he's not gonna like
He's
it.
gonna hate it.
Now he's going to be inverted.
Yeah, forever.
but like, have to give like just like Warner Brothers in the studio cred for financing an original, even though it's Nolan. But
Well,
he's like
it
the,
is his third original in a row, though.
yeah. I feel like
It's
he's
the most
like the
expensive one.
I think he's like the last director that can get a big budget original film made. That's not like franchised. Because like Nolan in himself is a franchise, because they marketed his films from Christopher Nolan, and not like
It's Christopher Nolan.
John David Washington in. It's like Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Mm.
It's like him and Tarantino.
Well, he's
I
reached
think, are
that
the
level,
only
hasn't he?
ones.
Well, it's that level of consistency he's had as well. Apart from this film, I've enjoyed every single Christopher Nolan film.
That's why I say you should see it again.
Yeah.
I really think you
about
might
it.
change your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some time to let it go
Mm.
and I'll watch it
Yeah.
again. Because
Well-
I think at the moment I'm too conflicted.
So 91% of Google users like the film, including myself. It has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, 70% on Metacritic, and IMDb rating of 8.4, and
That's
it's
fair.
not even open in the States.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite cool.
Yeah.
That's based off critics who are really critical,
Yeah.
naturally, because that's their job.
Mm.
Critics can be too harsh
Yeah.
sometimes.
You just
But it's
like,
like
spooning
most-
the table.
I've read some
trying to
reviews
come
before I saw it, and I think almost every critics had the same criticism, which was it's like it's original, it looks amazing, but it's hollow.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like the what's
I agree with that though.
review.
I would.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to see it a second time.
Well, I just think in general.
I wonder if the critics saw it twice.
Because, I mean, you say, like, Nolan's never been into characters that much, but I mean, I think I've seen a lot more of it in other films that he's done.
Mm.
Like, through the whole Batman trilogy, I feel like that was quite good. And then, even in Interstellar, like, that was extremely
Yeah, I think
emotional.
that's his. When it comes just to characters, I think Interstellar is probably the one that connects emotionally, at least with me, the most.
Yeah, but you don't like it.
No, I like it.
I thought-
I really like the first two halves, but I'm not crazy about
Right.
the fifth dimension ending.
Yeah.
Now let me out Nolan. You would be smarter than everyone in the room.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
The budget's about 205 to 250 million. Yeah.
Is that his most expensive film?
That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of industry standard these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, they
The most
filmed.
expensive film back in 2007 was At World's End, and that was 300 million.
Mm.
Endgame cost about 300 million.
Which is surprising considering the
They
contracts
filmed
they
a
would have had.
lot of places. They
But I
filmed a
think-
lot of Italy, Norway,
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Nolan. A
New
lot of
Zealand?
his,
Estonia. Wait, where?
No, I'm asking.
Wait.
But I think
Southampton.
that Nolan
My
did
friend lives
Endgame
there.
and Infinity
Shout out to
War shot at the
friend.
same time.
Oh.
what other stats you got for us?
The working title for the film was called Merry-Go-Round.
Makes sense.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
would have
it
been a
makes
cool
sense.
title.
Yeah.
I think Tenet is more like
Tenet is more,
intense
I mean, it
and
represents the
suspenseful.
film a bit more.
I heard that word once
Yeah.
in the film.
They said it all the time.
Oh, they said it. Oh
They
no,
said
he
it
said
quite
it
well.
at least
Tenet.
twice.
I
No,
said
Because
I heard
the
it
lady
once or
said it. The lady said it to him, and then he said it. He said it.
Well, at the start of the
Back.
film, they were saying that's is like, this is the word you have to remember, and then it'll get you to places.
He said it once,
Really?
and then he just did
I missed
the
that.
fingers.
That
and
was
it
when
like,
he was on
Yeah.
the, just before he went into the turbine.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah.
I missed that completely.
It's like it will open some right.
Or
now,
open,
some-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Can we touch on, like, MacGuffin? Because I felt like
Yeah.
that was really rushed and pushed in there.
Yeah.
Because at the end, when it was this big staff, I was like, wait, what? I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that before. I didn't remember him saying it was, like, multiple parts.
Yeah. No.
And it was like,
Didn't they say there was multiple parts buried all over the planet, and if he died, they would.
oh, right.
Like-
Yeah. But I feel like it was still, like, that was, like,
It was
Yeah,
quite skipped
I
over.
agree.
I didn't
it
remember.
was, like,
Yeah.
one point right at the start of the movie, wasn't it? When
Yeah.
and he said that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we kind of went off it because we went to the painting thing.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, look, these doors.
Yeah.
Which is what they were trying to find. But, like, when I was watching, I was like, wait, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
didn't
mean.
even click. I was like,
I'm fairly
brushed over
sure
it.
there's like a 45-minute longer cut somewhere.
Oh, it has got to be.
probably.
There's got to be somewhere. Yeah, because I feel like
Hey,
a lot of
Nolan.
this film was just like
Nolan,
Yeah.
Nolan.
information,
Hey, Chris,
information.
Christopher,
information.
my boy. Hey, Christopher, if you're watching this, give us the extended full cut, no cut, made for cinema type thing. We want that raw.
Give us the film that's directed by Christopher Nolan, produced by Christopher Nolan, written by Christopher Nolan, and edited by Christopher Nolan.
On iMovie.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sure, thanks,
Yeah.
buddy. Appreciate it.
On Vimeo.
I didn't even, you know, that stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't even think much of it. I was just like, oh, this is something I probably missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, suddenly they've got 3 pieces of
Because
stuff.
did they even
Cool,
show an
what?
individual
Is
piece?
this a lightsaber?
Yeah, they showed the piece that he had in the beginning
And-
at the opera. He opened the bag and there was one piece.
That's right.
See, this
yeah.
stuff, it's so spread out. No,
Yeah,
because
it's extremely
and I
And
feel
I
like-
think it might be his second viewing.
Yeah, that's it.
True. So you didn't pick up on that the first time?
know I saw it, but it wasn't something I thought
I did
about.
not remember that at all.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the film I was like struggling to like process what I watched while something else was happening.
Yeah, it's kind of too much
Yeah.
information.
Well, that's what I mean. I think
Don't-
that's like
yeah.
that's where the film really falls apart for me
Yeah.
because it's like it's too much shit being jammed in my face at
Yeah.
once. You got to be paying a lot of attention. to
Yeah, I
get
think
Yeah.
I think that probably when this opens wide, a lot of people
Don't blink.
are not gonna like it because I think it's gonna go over a lot of people's head and people are gonna be like,
If you look away or you go to the bathroom and you come back, you're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
understand.
You're gonna
I
have
saw
There
to
one
was-
person go to the bathroom and was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're fucked.
yeah,
You're going to
Especially,
Or not just
especially
going
people,
home.
yeah, people who like to have a drink before they go and watch a movie,
yeah.
or
this-
yeah.
yeah.
watch it while they're stoned or
watch
something.
this movie sober
Please
Yeah,
watch this movie
Stone
sober.
Cold
Don't
sober.
I know
blame-
it's hard to do.
or on acid.
Oh, don't watch it on acid.
Yeah.
You'll have no ears by the end of the night. You'll get your ears cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it was longer, just because I feel like it would have.
2 hours, 20 minutes was plenty long for me.
No, but I feel like it was long, but I feel like for what he wanted to do, it was too short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely sped up, and you
Absolutely,
can tell
I-
that. But
I
that
genuinely,
took long
there was
enough.
actually a time when I thought it was going to finish, and that was when they were on the boat. Again, not the yacht, but when they were in that sealed room talking about what was going to happen next
Okay. Yeah.
with Kat
Yes.
after she'd been shot.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was like
That was
wrapping
building up,
then.
yeah.
Like,
then it
this is
suddenly-
going to have to be a sequel.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, a sequel.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if sequels ever really do as well if it's just a second film.
He
sort of
doesn't do
thing.
that unless it's that.
Yeah,
Unless
unless
it's
it's
Batman.
Yeah, I was sitting there because I was like, oh, is it wrapping up now? I was like, oh, okay, I quite liked the film. I wasn't too sure about it. I was
Yeah.
like already filming my opinions, and then it kept going. I was like, oh fuck, never mind.
Yeah.
Wow, put phone away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see like what he actually like,
Yeah.
unless that was actually what he wanted to do, in which case,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he sort of has final cut, but it's also because I know that he shot this film almost entirely on IMAX film.
700
And
millimeter
IMAX. Yeah,
IMAX.
was it 70?
70 millimeter.
70. Can't
70
read.
millimeter
That's
IMAX, yeah.
extremely.
Yeah, and I think IMAX films can only be 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh really?
Yeah, because the film roll is too big.
If anyone wants to know some fun facts about
Mm-hmm.
the script, if you have the time, honestly, there is 59 trivia notes on IMDb about this film, and they are all quite interesting. Michael Caine wasn't allowed to read the entire script. He read his part just before shooting, and he had no idea what the film was about. Robert Pattinson was only allowed to read the script once in a locked room at the Warner Brothers Studios.
You can't leave until you're finished.
Yeah.
And he got the extended full cut. There wasn't
Yeah.
that long.
So John David Washington read the screenplay in Nolan's locked office at the studios as well, and it took him around 5 hours to finish because he kept flipping back and forth in pure amazement. And yeah, I think it's just insane. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine reading that script and trying to put it
Yeah.
together. I think the only
Did
reason
they
I'd be flipping back and forth in pure confusion.
Did they even know what they were making?
Yeah, that's
Michael
probably
Caine
not.
didn't.
It was that night.
No, but did any of them? When they actually got there, like, wait, what's my lines?
Yeah.
Well, do you know Robert
like
Pattinson
Gandalf.
did that stunt driving in Estonia?
What?
Robert Pattinson. He did 1 day of stunt training for the driving, and he ended up doing that scene.
That's
Cool. I like doing my own stunts.
Thanks, Robert Pattinson.
You're welcome. Hey, anytime, mate.
Can you give us some spoilers about Batman?
Batman? Well, fuck. Everyone hates me for it, so.
What?
Yeah.
Well, everyone hated me.
Wait,
Then they
wait.
saw me in the trailer, and then it was
Wait.
okay.
All the people who had, just seen Twilight were like, oh my god, I had no idea he could act. Everyone else was like, you should probably not just take his
You should
one
probably watch
performance.
some movies.
Yeah.
He's done some
Watch The
amazing
Lighthouse.
I made,
Watch
The
Tenet.
Lighthouse.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yes.
Someone who really I didn't expect to see at all was Amish
Untitled
Patel. I did not
Yeah.
expect to. One, because I'd only seen him in one film,
I only knew he was in it because I googled it.
and he is actually like an actor who has been in like he's
Most of
pretty
stuff.
new.
His debut was yesterday.
No.
Or his
No,
biggest breakthrough was yesterday.
Yeah, well, he started in 2014 by the looks of it, his first big feature, and then like he was on EastEnders for a bit. So it was like after seeing him on yesterday and seeing him in this movie, it was like two completely different sides to like an actor only seen one. So it was like a really.
For one, he was also American and Tenet.
Yeah, but it was just a really weird thing to like have an expectation of what they're going to be like and then like be completely different.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what like Robert Pattinson was going to be like straight after Twilight. He was in a bunch of like really small indie kind of films.
Yeah, he's been.
And then he just started coming back up out of it.
Yeah.
I think Lighthouse was probably one of the ones that I remember being.
Yeah, being like, wow, I haven't seen him in a while, kind of.
Yeah, and then it's like, holy shit. It's a different
He
man.
was incredible in that. It was such a strange
That
film.
movie was,
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Watch
almost,
that one.
Watch
on
that
acid.
if you want to see naked Willem Dafoe.
Watch that if you
And
want to
mermaids.
see a mermaid vagina.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see
Robert
that in my
Pattinson
life.
jerking off.
Yeah, that was.
But,
You see, have his butt cheeks.
Yeah. So his buttock. Wow.
Where do we see Nolan going next?
I think that if he keeps getting this amount of money to do whatever the fuck he wants, he's gonna keep doing.
I guess you can't really
movies and
turn
stuff.
down that.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna be like, hey, let me jump into.
Yeah,
another
unless he
superhero
gets
movie.
offered something that he's like got a really deep connection to. With the whole Dark Knight trilogy, it didn't feel like Nolan's like almost his style wasn't there for me. Like because it was crazy the stuff that they did, but it wasn't as crazy as like Inception or like the stuff he did after with Interstellar. Like it was crazy stunts, but it wasn't exactly what I think when I think of Christopher Nolan. I don't think of him. I don't think he would enjoy doing something like that actually.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
So he'd probably, I reckon he probably would actually go back and or continue doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
It just depends on like what would he actually do next.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
I think that's what's so exciting about him is that you never know what he's gonna come out with.
I'm just hoping he doesn't try and do another time thing because
Well,
he's probably gonna.
Though this film is not meant to be scientifically accurate, it is based roughly on actual science. And before shooting, Nolan asked some scientist who he'd previously worked on with Interstellar to read the script and help him out with some of the concepts. Apparently,
I was expecting a bit more than I got.
yeah.
I'm not sure if that was solely because I personally really enjoy character-driven stories,
Yeah.
or if that's because of Nolan's repertoire with like his other amazing films. Like I love Dunkirk and I love Interstellar and I love Inception. So I was expecting something like along those lines that will be known and like talked about for years.
Yeah.
Where I feel like unfortunately this one will probably end up being more quiet.
I think so too. I think people.
It's because it's not a big name film, you know.
Well,
It's not Batman.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But like, neither was Inception and Interstellar. They're all original films. It's the same. It's got the same playing field to start with.
Yeah.
But I think what it delivers isn't as good as those other films.
I mean, people are still debating whether Inception is real or not.
Yeah.
Like the ending.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this.
It doesn't hold that. Because it kind of like it almost ties it up, but it doesn't. And then like you feel like no, it is tied up. What about like he told you what he's gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
He had an idea and a premise that he could have told in a fairly straightforward manner.
Yep.
And then he just didn't do it. And then he just
But that's
how many?
that's
Yeah, it is
the
Nolan,
thing, yeah.
I guess. But like, I don't know. It kind of took away from the viewing experience, just the amount of thought, I guess, that you have to put into it. It's not one of those films like I feel like with even Inception, you kind of sit back and watch it. You know, you don't have to be thinking and processing everything, because it's like
the first time you kind of do.
I mean, the first time I watched it, I understood most of it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
same.
like
This is way more complicated. to
Exactly.
understand
This is
than
extremely complicated, but I don't think the story he's trying to tell is that complicated. I just think the route he tried to get there is extremely complicated.
But I think that's part of what makes it super, like, an exciting, quite immersive. Is you're like, if you're not paying, if you figure out partway through, like, shit, if I'm not paying attention, I won't understand this.
Yeah.
And you're instantly kind of like, okay, I'm gonna keep.
Yeah.
And then it
Focus on
really
this.
draws you in and you're like, concentration level 100.
Is that your concentration noise? You just growl.
The characters are just sort of vessels for the story. So I don't think there's possible to be like exceptional in one of these films. You just serve the story, and I felt like everyone served the story. Everyone played their part.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson definitely stood out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God, he was
Definitely.
gorgeous.
Because I think that if David Washington is like the cool, charming guy, then Robert Pattinson is kind of like the chaotic guy. He has like that.
He's like a chaotic
100%
neutral.
more interesting in the story about chaotic time and
Yeah.
all that. than a character who like doesn't react the way you'd expect him to react. I don't think his character is boring because of the performance by John David Washington. I feel like it was more the way the character was written before he was even cast for the role. I feel like in terms of casting, you can actually get a better actor to do that role than John David Washington. And for me, the only film I've actually seen him in is also Black Klansman. So that was like...
I think he was phenomenal in that.
Oh, he was great.
Good
fantastic. So yeah, it was cool to see him play like a more... It was hard to say serious, but it was.
Yeah. He was... Because Black Klansman, it's done so well. But, like...
He was goofy.
It's quite underrated.
It
But
really
his
is.
character in that film was a bit goofy.
Yeah, it's
compared
because
to like this.
there's an underlying
He's a little
comedy
clown.
to it before
it
draws you
it's
back
Spike
into the
Lee,
real
right?
world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you get with Spike Lee.
Yeah, I think
Spike
it's
Lee.
done. I think it's done really well because he's a bit of a goof at the same time as being in all these extremely like hostile and serious situations. There's like a softer undertone to it, and before it like draws you back to like Trump killing people at the end, sort of thing.
He had a different kind of goofiness in this. It wasn't like goofy. It just wasn't like.
It was more charming and like playful than.
I would say even more like it almost felt like he was unaware to the situation that was actually like at stake, which is how I felt. It was like, well,
he's more of a character for the audience, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like that was actually more just him trying to do that because I feel like the character was written pretty poorly in my opinion.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just like a...
exactly. Yeah, so I feel like...
I have to just say one thing, though, which I really, really appreciate. And it's... basically, he's the first black lead in a Nolan film. And it's the sort of like... It's a big original film with lots of money behind it, with a black lead where the color of his skin doesn't matter. I think that was really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like the way that all films should be written, where it's like they're just like
it's just a character.
Well, at the end of the day, you should be writing something that's got like the characters are more like they're this kind of entity instead of a person, and then when you cast someone, that's when they become a full character. I feel like this was like a really good version of that, where it was just a canvas, and then the character came in and filled that canvas the way he wanted to do it. I think actually, he does that quite a lot in Nolan, but it's usually with like characters, so you don't really notice it. But yeah, it is quite good where it had, like in terms of that, how his characters are left to interpretation by the actual artist, the actor.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the best actor is the best character. Like that's why it's so good to go into a casting not thinking of what they're gonna look like.
Yeah.
You just go in there with how do they do it? Like what are they gonna do? What are they gonna show me? Something special. I want to see something different, special. What are they going to bring to it?
Yeah.
What do they interpret from this like thing, this entity that I've put here? And that's exactly what. Yeah, I agree with you fully. Like that's what it felt like, and it felt like it was a really collaborative effort between Nolan kind of doing that, and then John David Washington coming in and like filling that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched an interview with John David yesterday, and then he was asked, like, how does it feel to be the first black lead in a Nolan? He was like, well, this is the first like big Hollywood script I read where the character was not specified as being of color at all. So I just
that was over a Zoom call with someone.
Yeah,
I think.
And he was like, I was just trying to do justice to the script I was given.
Yeah,
wasn't trying to like represent.
And the 5 hours I got to write it.
In the locked room. Christopher Nolan knocked me in a room and I could only read it.
I gotta be honest, if it was Chris Nolan, it's gotta be one of the fanciest offices in the world.
Oh, wow.
That guy dresses like $1 million every single day on the shoot.
Yeah.
It is insane. I've never seen
I'm glad we're not recording ourselves now. We're all in like fat pants.
Oh, yeah.
Like
we are the complete opposite.
Hoodies.
Chris Nolan would be vomiting on the floor in the back if he was here right now. But yeah, but that man, not only does he have a good sense of style when it comes to what's on the film, but he has a good sense of style in general.
Let's wrap this up.
So ratings. Okay. What are we going to rate this? You go first.
Out of what?
Out of 10.
Out of 10 Robert Pattinsons.
Well, how about we just do like a 10 based on that movie? So like something that's involved in that movie, we'll do it like that's our rating system.
I'm going to give it a 12.
I'll give it 8 crashing airplanes.
Ooh.
Out of 10.
Nice.
Alright.
I'm going to do the same as Frederick, give it an 8 reverse fog coins out of 10.
You go.
Well,
No, I don't want to go.
I'm going to give it a 5.
Wow.
You little bitch!
It's because he didn't see it a second time.
I'm giving it a 5 beautiful restaurant scenes out of 10.
Ooh.
Wow,
give
you
it-
really didn't like it. Shit.
He's gonna have
I
to
would
watch
have
it
given it
again.
5 the first time, but
Well,
Yeah, you
I
need
mean,
to
my
second
bar's
watch
pretty
it.
high.
So
I
that's
think
such a high
Inception's an 8.
Yeah, you've got.
I think
Expectations.
Interstellar's an 8.
I
What
went
Star
to
Wars
re-release
The
of
Last
Inception.
Jedi?
6.
Would you
Okay,
give
yeah.
I personally like it, but I don't think it's an amazing film.
Every time you start
A
talking,
New
about
Hope
it,
is
goes,
much more visually impressive.
Rise of Skywalker?
Don't answer that.
I preferred that one.
You're
over The
within
Last
hitting
Jedi.
distance. Don't answer that. I think I'm gonna give it a. I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. I'm gonna give it a 9. This is an Estonian
okay.
out of 10.
I know what's that?
A 9 is
This isn't a 9. That's not Estonian out of 10.
That's a good one.
And that will be everything from this episode. Thank you everyone so much for listening.
If you have any film suggestions that you would like us to review and watch and talk about, do let us know. Slide into our DMs.
If you also have any old films and classics you would like us to potentially review in future, also let us know. We could be keen on doing that.
And finally, for our latest updates, please make sure you follow us on Spotify and Instagram. And we all hope to see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Hello.
And goodbye, everybody.
So long and good night.
Akite ano.
Kakite.
Sayonara, sucker.
Shut the fuck up.